Salve todo mundo, boa noite e sejam bem-vindos ao Festival da Consciência Negra. E nossa conversa de hoje, que vai ser a conversa número 17 dos 20 conversas que a gente pretende ter nesse festival nosso. O Festival da Consciência Negra é uma oportunidade do Globo, nessa plataforma da Zoom e do Facebook, para ter conversas para comemorar e celebrar as histórias e os contos.
To celebrate stories and the culture of Black people around the world. So we can increase our power, our pride of our color. We have tonight three powerful women to talk about how we can create a space to resist and build. But before this, we're going to do an opening, and we're going to ask Negra Jho from Salvador, Brazil, to begin a conversation.
Hello, blessings to everyone, Monjuba, and we're here today in this festival of Black Consciousness, asking all the Orishas for comprehension for Oshala to bring to everyone, and to all the instances for the virus to go away. The virus doesn't belong to us and should go. And to thank for our family being here, our water, our brothers, for our friends. And so I'm going to intuit a song that is going to talk about everything that is ours.
Amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. Só o festival, quem sabe avaliar amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. Não há quem sabe avaliar amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. Sou a Aquataluxe que sabe avaliar amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. Não há quem sabe avaliar amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. É só Valéria que sabe avaliar amor de pai e amor de uma mãe. Não há quem sabe avaliar amor de pai e amor de uma mãe. Sou a Negra Jho que sabe avaliar amor de pai, amor de uma mãe. Que todos que estão ouvindo, que estão participando, que estão atuando, que valorize seus pais, que valorize suas mães, que valorize sua vida. Eu peço permissão.
Everyone that is here, value your mother, value your fathers. I ask you for permission to all Rishas.
Thank you, Negra Jho. We're going to start our talk with you. Who is Negra Jho, and why did you think it was interesting and necessary to be here in this talk today? A talk in which we pretend to learn the way how we can resist what's happening.
My name is Negra Jho. I was born in Colombo, Modebeca. I'm the third of 7 children. I was always discriminated when I was children inside my own family for my values, for my self-esteem. I'm a girl who I played soccer, I played, and I resisted everything because when I talked to my mother in 5 years old, I think that my life changed. I had to resist as a woman, be strong, and to raise, because the world was expecting a woman that was strong. So I came out of that and I raised my self-esteem, and that came from my ancestors, or from my ancestrality. I saw myself small, young, and alone. I had to change my name. I'm Valdemiro Thomas Jesus, and And the nickname I had as a child of João, they decided to call me John. At that moment, he he used to call me. Another friend of mine called me Negra, and was transforming that that name into Negra Jho, Negra dance, Negra resistance. The white resistance, because I'm a woman who comes into the world to say that we can, uh, mother of two, a grandmother, a grandmother, and I always looked to my ancestral roots. I always resisted the look of towards me with racism, and always elevated my powers and saw that we are kings and queens, and this world transforms itself when we walk and we trip on sometimes on our path. Uh, but every time we have to uh, make the ground fertile. When I store achievements, when I leave Ferguson Center for some cultural projects, uh, we were we were always persecuted for doing things that were of our culture, and we have to keep on. We have to keep on strengthening our culture using turbans, using braids, and this was my path. And this was the way that I was able uh, to go through my path, and in a moment that came to Salvador in the 90s, I found all this ancestral richness together with the Ilê Aiyê, the black world where you transform when you arrive at that house. You notice the turbans, you notice uh, the culture, you notice the Olodum, you notice black resistance, black potency. I'm going to dance to the drum of that. Uh, I'm going to dance to the drums. You have to let your body run to the rhythm of the drums. And as a black woman, I was strengthened. I talk a lot to Akatalushi about that, and I like when she says Aquataluxe and Rodrigues. She's not just a Aquataluxe of Olodum. Uh, I made in that place the strength of my ancestry. I'm Negra Jho, and I have many girls that came to me and that I transformed into women. Many girls that came with their self-esteem low, and I transformed them into women with great self-esteem and head high. I'm not afraid of going through the crossroads. I'm not afraid of feeling the energy of Orisha, because I'm the daughter of Orisha. I'm a Yadaga of the territory of Yadesi. I'm the blood. I have blood of Candomblé. I'm not going to forget that was the Maria in the mother of the Savior, uh, bringing salvation to all the girls and resistance and ancestrality to. I was the Black Mary with her dreadlocks loose and with Black Jesus on her laps, and this was a lot of emotion. This was a lot of spiritual growth that came within that path. Raising six women in the block Ilê Aiyê and making them become goddesses. Some queens that didn't know Ijasha, didn't know how to raise their food from the floor. And before my humbleness, uh, I was able to teach them to the movements 1, 2, 3, 4, and I knew through my ancestral history to teach, to value, because on my knees I'm going to be able to grow and stand on my feet. I know that I learned a lot of a lot of Negrinho de Samba. I'm now today part of a group of 80 women bringing resistance through their air to our clothes. Uh, Inside Salvador, I was very scared when I arrived in the 80s. I thought I was going to find everything strong here, uh, turbans, but no. That was only happening in the nights of Black Beauty, and since I came strong from the outskirts, from the Quilombo, uh, and from the outskirts, we are the ones who bring the food to the city. The outskirts are the ones who plant so the city can eat. And through this black transformation, and I continue to work with my history with braids and turbans and that is my crown and my self-esteem, the playing of instruments, the drums. And they told me you're going to die of hunger. People don't want to braid their hair anymore. They said that people don't want turbans anymore. Uh, they said, and I said, our ancestral queens are going to be of no protection. So in well, we are here today to dress her queens. We don't have to exaggerate like Negra Jho, but I we have our near spirituality strengthens us. Our nobility. Uh, when I see arrive the bloco of capoeira, and what is capoeira? Capoeira is a dance that is a dance that is used as a terms of resistance to run away from slavery. I today work with 70 people that were able to change their clothing, their behavior, their direction, their culture, and they're passing that work on. They were able to, and and Tati Cabello is not alone. Tati Cabello goes beyond the limits of her body. I see with Sheikha Delaney with the dance. Uh, Wherever these people uh, gather their strength, gather reunion, it's their union, it's their strength. It's not just hair, it's not just turbans, it's a study, it's the stalking, it's caring. When I'm in this group today, Valeria and Aquataluxe, I feel very strengthened. It's a woman that I've seen grow, that I've seen procreate. It's girls who are studying uh, to teach those who are coming now, and they're seeing things a bit easier. My generation was uh,
Vamos dar uma pausa aí. Muito obrigada pela entrada. E eu estou vendo que a senhora está resistindo desde dentro do útero, né? Dentro do ventre, a senhora já nasce num quilombo, que é uma área de resistência do povo negro e cresceu dentro da sua família.
It's already an area of resistance. Since you were born, you came from a place of resistance. Because Quilombo is an area of resistance, you know. And even when you went to Salvador, you just went and carried on your activity as a and resistant. You're certainly the right person to be talking about this because you're someone who's been resisting since the beginning. Let's talk a bit with someone else that's here. Valeria, you also were born in a family of resistance. To us, who are you and how are you? And what can you add to this conversation to be talking about resistance from your point of view, Salvador? Good evening, everyone. My name is Valeria Lima. I'm a journalist. I had the privilege of being born in a family that always been a strong contributor of resistance here fighting for Black people's rights. Um, Even though here in Bahia, Black people are the majority, there is no Black people in places of power. And this is something I was born in the neighborhood of Curuzu, and within my family in Ilê Aiyê de Togo. I grew up. I grew within the block, the African block, you know, block of Afro. It's something that's always been not kindly seen, you know, but the place and the power of a Black woman within it is very important. You know, since we are born as Black women, and we are born having to resist from day one, you know. So being born within a family that's always been fighting for our rights is a great privilege, you know. Being blessed by Olialo, who was the Orisha of my grandmother, who unfortunately is not within us, but it was her who guided us. You know, very strong presence in my life. Within the block, there's lots of people within it who have between 18 and 22 years old. These teenagers are people that didn't have who to look up for, and now they do, you know. This is going to be a block of Africa. This is a block that only has Black people, only women and men, Black women and men here in Salvador. And the main objective of this block is to take to the streets here in Salvador that we are Black and we are proud to be Black. We're proud of our hair. We're proud of the things we wear. We're proud of our fashion, of the colors that we use. And we have the men and women that didn't have before the opportunity to show themselves that they were Black. And because there's lots of things that happen here in Brazil, especially when you go to a job interview, that you need to have a good appearance. What is a good appearance here in Brazil? A good appearance in Brazil is to try to look like a white person. You know? So the closest you are looking to a white person, the better chances you have to get a job. So it's important that we have these movements where Black people can actually be proud of the way they are, the way they look, and these people are the main reasons, the main movements to resist. To there is lots of difficulties. Um, there's lots of problems and difficulties when you for Black people here, but it is a bit easier to live in a place that is so with such prejudice, you know. Um, but it is interesting to be in this family because, for example, my master's was doing a biography about my grandmother. You know, it's we hope that we keep on growing, and these women have always been working and resisting. If we have today in Bahia the center that is Oriental, it's because lots of women before us were also fighting for this resistance. You know. We know as well that there's a difference in movements. We have uh, we have feminism, the Black feminism, and Black resistance. So talking about resistance here in Brazil is to talk about feminist Black feminism. We are in the fourth place in the social pyramid. So it is fundamental for us Black women to be fighting and resisting. Uh, even even if we have a good education, a good CV, we still occupy the lowest places within the workplace. It's a mission in my life to write stories about Black women. We need to work sometimes a lot, and sometimes we don't prioritize our mission. You know, it's not it's not a coincidence that we are all here. It's not a coincidence that there's here four Black women discussing this. It's a mission of mine, that is to write, you know, to value the stories of Black women. It's because that's why we're here today. Thank you very much, Valeria. And we're going to go back to that point. Negra Jho spoke about the value of the cornrows and turbans and everything. And Ilê Aiyê has also done a lot of things to try to improve the charisma, the way Black women look, or Black people look at themselves. I would like to pause here, and I'm going to switch to English just to just to tell them a few things. You know, um, se você tiver no Zoom, tem na parte de baixo da sua tela, você pode colocar a língua que você quer trocar. So going back, we have our third participant here that also grew up in a family that has been always been very resistant, a family that's always opened paths for other people. We have here Aquataluxe Rodrigues, that's here representing Olodum band. So tell us, Aquataluxe, tell us about yourself.
Good evening, world. I'm so happy to be here with you, to be here with these women, these four queens. Sovereign. It's an honor for me to be with everyone here. And Valeria said that, and it's not a coincidence. The gods want this because the revolution is going to happen. This revolution is called Black Women, and it's not a coincidence that these four queens are here, here for everyone to see, to comments, to like, and see how sovereign we are in doing this. Um, Blessing to Negra Jho, Valeria, blessing and a blessing to Kisses and Orishas. Thank you to the Kisses and Orishas and the exchange here, the possibility of an exchange of being people that are driving this. Uh, Valeria said things are emblematic here. The opportunity for us to tell our own story is revolutionary, and because we all came from this place of Quilombo, of Afro-blocos, of Afro that came from Maracatu, from Frevo and Recife, in Quevo, Cabloquinho, that came from braids. I'm that braids now from the hands of Negra Jho. This is a symbol of resistance. Resistance has a lot to do with what we do as Black women every day, believing, resisting, and procreate inside the chaos. I imagine that within this pandemic, doing this, all of this, and I'm kind of crazy because there's a lot of women that have been coming from a place of entrepreneurship, and these are Black women coming uh, from the outskirts. And why don't we notice our own power? Um, why don't when we listen uh, the now the place of power that this woman come when I do a graduation, when I see that my cousin Christina was the only representative of Okun. So we want Black women to be seen for what they do and all the amazing things they do. Negra Jho is here, and I'm going to talk about Valeria as well. But my cousin and sister, I'm here. We're here today because of the path that women like Negra Jho, Negra Tolu, Von Pensa, my grandma Lisi, these are women that came before us, that resisted the whole time and told us it's no, don't know you already have the yes you have to fight for, and our generation has a lot to say about that. I that came from a place from Olodum, from Ilê Aiyê that comes before, and we came from organization that is a bit younger, but with the same history for resistance inside Pelourinho, in a community that was in the outskirts, that was marginalized, that was negligence by the public powers, the government powers, and it's all today an attraction for the whole world. With all the weights that we carry, it's still a place of resistance, and we resist. Uh, would like to say that Pelourinho is not just a touristic place, it's a community where we have families, children, mothers, cousins, daughters. Negra Jho, it's a place of Cravinho. It's people that make a part of a community. So please, you that are tourists that want to get to know Curuzu, they want to get to know Pelourinho, have respect for our community, please. We resist uh, uh, through a lot of things through the time. Today, coronavirus, during other time it was other viruses that had that tried to put us down, and we lived through that, resisted through that. We are urban Quilombo. Please respect our ancestrality, our place of where we talk from, but it's a place to visit, but please respect every stone that is in there. We know that every stone that is there was a lot of work that we did for it to be there. So this, what you're seeing now, the Heather from Trinidad and Tobago, Valeria from Curuzu, Negra Jho, or Lady Negra Jho from Marcel Pelourinho, Health, Liberty, all to you, Aquataluxe, please respect, because we're not resisting from today, it's from a lot before, from a long time before. We're trying to maintain a tree, a baobab, that is going to bring a lot more. When we think about resistance, when we think about fighting, we can think about fighting. We can think about without black women. We're not just a womb. We're not just life. We're also the power of breathing. Oh yeah, is that the power of breathing life itself?
Obrigada, Quartaluche. Eu acho muito interessante, né, que a
Thank you,
gente
Quartaluche. And I think very interesting that we started this talking with Negra Jho that came from a quilombo, and we ended with you talking about Pelourinho, that it's a community of resistance, which is a way of quilombo, urban quilombo. What I find interesting that even in Bahia, which is a state that has lots of black people, which is the territory that has a majority of black people, why still today, in 2020, a necessity to have urban quilombo? Why do we still need to resist in a place like Pelourinho, like Salvador, like Bahia? Who would like to start talking about this? What's happened? Because in the elections a few weeks ago, it was still very difficult to put in power a representative that was black to represent black people, even there in Bahia. How is that going on? Why?
Exactly, Heather. I'm going to talk. I have to talk first.
Deixa ela falar.
We are here for
This is
this.
going to be the one.
É a nossa
Talk me
conversa de
first.
sexta-feira.
Yeah, it was a talk from. It was I was had the happiness of spending my 20th of November with Negra Jho. Our 20th of November is not a day in the year because our granddad already said that being black is not being black in Carnival. It's being black 365 days a year. Um I think Valeria can complement, can add to that. Negro Joe can also add to that. And the fact that we need a quilombo is the fact that it's because we don't have a conscience that we stop being slaves. And this slavery here in this country was something that was really destructive, that ended with the idea of us being a human beings, of being thinking beings that want something positive. When we think, when we say that slavery in the world was the uh, biggest fortune that happened to the world, this is even underrating the issue, because there's we still feel the repercussions of what happened in that period. They still have today a place where in Bahia, four women here in Salvador who can look at each other and know each other as black women, we still have difficulty understanding that we should be in places of power as black women in this city, uh, because this is what racism does. It dehumanizes us. This is something that the universe knows, that the world knows. When slavery, when we know talk about the mercantilist aspect, we talked about that a black person is no longer a human being. This is a trigger for things that 500 cannot take into account. 500 years cannot take into account. Well, I want to say that our brother, our sister that voted in a different country doesn't have doesn't have their they are victim of this racist government that says that a person who's black can't have power, can't be smart, can have a quality of life. Uh, it's most simple, the simplest thing. The most the blackest city uh, outside Africa should have the black people should have power here. When we think that three women that talk about Bloco Alpha that have life inside Bloco Alpha, uh, we still have to go through straightening our hair, not having a place to speak our minds because of this race society that follow that has racism that says that Negra Jho and I have to be rivals, that we have to degladiate over power in a small city. And this is a city that all the power should be ours. It's shameful for this city to not elect a woman that is black. It's shameful for this state to not have a governor who is black. We should have a governor that thinks about that is pan-African. So we should think about quality of life to black people. Uh, I know that people will put down this the way of speaking, but this is what I fight for, and I fight for that any of us for when we dream and we think about being a mayor, we could achieve that. We are building that day to day. We are not doing policies of we're doing policies of transformation of quality of life. We're doing policies of education, of self-esteem, of religion. We're doing policies towards ancestrality. We're bringing this city to a place that it's never been, because being black beautiful is it's easy, but being black beautiful for a journalist stylist is something else. It,
Something else, something else.
A fala de luxo é a perfeita. Pensa
uh,
assim,
way that Aquataluxe put it is perfect. I think this way, Salvador is a city that is has a lot of beauty, a lot of resistance,
encontrar comigo,
a lot of history. When Valeria talks to
você
me
está
in
desse jeito que
Catalunya,
você está vendo a gente aqui.
you're going to find us the way you
De
find us here now,
não se esconde atrás de
with
uma máscara.
braids, with turbans, because we don't hide behind something. When we talk about policies about Black people, for us to resist and continue fighting, uh,
Nós
we
temos que sentar.
we have to
Nós
sit down.
temos que
We have
como
to
você falou.
we can gladiate over power.
Cinco
Uh,
pessoas
we have five people who are
maravilhosas
smart,
que podem
five
ser
black people who are smart, who can be mayors, who can be governors. We can be anything. Why not?
não vamos botar
Uh,
10 desses 10. Não,
why
desses
not
10, vamos lapidar,
um,
vamos colocar 3.
lapidate and put three people
Cada um
to
desses
run, and
3 vai
every
pegar
each three people
proposta.
are going to
Todo
get
mundo sabe o que
proposal
você quer.
that because everyone knows what we want, what we need.
Minha vida como eu
Uh,
vivo, minha
what our group needs, what our resist needs, what our Ilê here, because there's the same thing that Ilê wants, is the same thing that Olodum. Out of those 10 people, we get 3 people. We resist, we drive consciousness, uh, and we represent our culture. We represent a culture that is immense, that is strong, but our own have to have that black consciousness and know how to share. We can't just say that it's my turn, it's my turn. We have to divide the power because uniting will be strong.
Complementar a fala das meninas. Então,
I normally say that we can only fight against live enemies, you know. And I have a story here in this country that for many people believed, and we have the vice president here say this as well. People thought that Brazil lived kind of a democracy of during racial inequality. You know? There's a story that people believe that black people didn't have hard times in Brazil. Different from in the States where it was quite violent, like the bus boycott in the US. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Is it working?
Comigo não tá, não. Comigo tá bem.
eu vou seguir, então.
Deixa ver se ela...
Então, a gente...
We had this relation that was not never been exposed, you know. In some aspects, I think it's positive when something happens that moves the whole country. Unfortunately, we have a few tragedies that have gone on in a few years. In a way, it's positive. It's not that it's not that it's good that people lost their lives, but it shows people that racism here exists. Because racism here exists, it's subtle. It happens when you go into the workplace, but for example, when you go to a job interview and you get offered a job that is lower than it should be, and they don't explain to you why, you know, because these people, these companies just want people of color to be there in the company just to fill in a quota, not actually using you in the right way and give you the right job. Society in Brazil has showed us that there's only place for white people in the way. Lots of situations, students, black students, that sometimes you see that black people only get access to certain types of education because they have a better financial situation, you know? So I say that racism in Brazil is the only one that worked very well. It is a very subtle way of racism, but there is racism, real racism. It's about time you need to resist in order to occupy spaces in companies and everything. We don't have the money to use strategies that other countries use to unite ourselves, to unite and fight and try to occupy more relevant places. Unfortunately, we're still very few of us in positions of power. When we bring that to the local government power, that's even more serious because unfortunately, we haven't learned, when I say that, we we say we, the community, haven't learned to vote in black candidates. So I know lots of people that are from black movements, but most of these people um, don't educate their own family. You know, most of the times they have people within their own family that perpetuates racism attitudes. Um, Today we have access to education. We're a generation that is very privileged, but who came before us is very have lots of barriers. You know? Here we have a white a white local representative that has a lot of power, you know, and he has the power to move everything so that he can elect the next one to be another one just like him. You know? We had a Salvador that was a bit, a bit going downhill, but what he did, he did a few things in this government that worked, uh, and it was this act that he did that gave him power, you know. I believe that the the people that won here in the elections was incredible. You know, it was really interesting to see the percentage of people. It was interesting that it was the first time that we had two women here in Salvador that were elected to try to be represented here in the city. It shows that even though we have grown, you know, I'm never gonna say that we haven't grown, we haven't actually evolved. We have actually managed to gain a lot of space. You know, we've had many people in universities and everything. We need to identify these spaces we still need to fill, and the Black movement has to be stronger, educating young people, educating them why we need to be there in these spaces of power, so that we can help one another. Because we have companies that do things the way they think it's correct. But we see that lots of companies here don't hire Black people at all. You know? If a company doesn't have any employees of color, you know, it shows what type of company they are and what they believe in. You know? It's important for companies to respect the differences. Thank you, Valeria. We're gonna have a break so we can help our interpreter friends, and so that we can also think about what are we going to discuss after the break. You know, we're going to be discussing about Bloco Afro and what has Bloco Afro done to the people of Salvador and the Black people in the world. We're going to listen to a song that was very significant to every one of us, and I'm certain that everyone in Salvador going to have fun while we listen and reflect to this song, Farol.
Em Olodum, em laço de confraternidades, despertai-nos para a cultura egípcia.
Entrou outro vídeo, não?
Entrou outro vídeo. Mas deixa o vídeo.
E nas cabeças enchem-se de liberdade.
Tô me sentindo no Olodum. Eita, coisa massa.
Matando a saudade.
Com certeza, você é doido.
Aí foi 30 anos de Faraó. 30 junto com o Faraó, graças a Deus.
Você tá me vendo, Lúcio? Tá direitinho?
Deixa eu ver aqui, mãe. Tô te vendo agora, né? Que tem que passar. Eu tô vendo o Roberto, intérprete, Roberto, o Carlos, intérprete. Tudo bem? That's okay? Oh, nice. Rede, eu acho que entrou outro vídeo também. Isso mesmo.
Entrou outro.
Massa.
Tá demais.
Tá bom. Eu tô vendo pelo outro celular, não é pra gente falar, né? Entendi. Tudo bem.
Então, Faraó, né? Vamos falar com o Faraó, né? A gente tá...
So Farol, we're going to talk about Farol. So we've been able to retake his power. Right? So I've been thinking about Bloco Afros and Olodum Ilê Aiyê is the way to do it. We can talk about the night of Black Beauty. What does that night mean for you, Valeria? What is done this night, Valeria? And how does this night help in the work of resistance and the place of resistance for Black people, Black women there? I know it's a very interesting conversation, but please speak a bit slower. The Night of Black Woman. It's the first competition of Black beauty here in this country. The competitions here, beauty competitions here, Black women were not allowed to compete, you know? So due to that reason, that Black women could not compete in beauty competitions, sometimes there's a small entry point in these competitions for light-skinned Black women. You know, it was due to that we decided to create this competition for Black women. You know, so we do references. Um, the references. It's not only a beauty competition. There's a symbol behind it. You know, it's a moment like Negra Jho spoke. It's a day where women can actually wear their cultural fashion. You know, not only the women that are there competing, but also the women that are there to watch. We say that this day is like a big fashion show. No? There's a show on stage and there's a show around it. You know, everyone goes there really beautiful. Really embracing their culture. Everything that culture goes like our society goes against it they can go there and really show it. You know, they can show the red blocks. They can show their braids. They can show their fashion. They can, you know, it is fundamental to have something like this. It's a it's a place where they can really be who they are. You know, the job of Jetty who does the clothes. You know, the moment where the first walk on the runaway, it's amazing. You know, it's very important for them. They walk out with turbans. You know, it's a symbolic moment where she gives her blessing to those women. You know, that turban symbolizes a crown. You know. And it's something that is very important for the cultural revolution here in this city. The night of Black beauty is it's not restricted anymore, and it's becoming more acceptable to people to wear braids and chronos and everything. So before a few years ago, people that worked in supermarkets, for example, could not wear dreadlocks or cornrows, you know, because they said it was something that was unacceptable. But that's changing, you know. When you take it to my area, for example, in communication, this woman that is there working as a cashier is there representing the image of the company, you know? So she's literally the image of the company. So looking within this language of structural representation, it's important to have that woman in that place. People believe that people that have cornrows, their hair smells bad, it's ugly. It's something that is there's a lot of prejudice. You know? There's some terms that I don't like to use because they're too heavy. Life is already really heavy, and I normally don't like to use these words because that affects us. Thank God today we have today young people use hair the way they want to use their hair. You know, there's a movement of young people that really embraces the hair they want. Now we are seeing that many people that in shopping centers that work for companies go work for companies there with afros, with chronos, with dreads. paint their hair black or blonde or anything they want, you know. This empowerment of using your hair the way they want to has really grown here, you know. And the songs of the bloco is actually helping a lot people have this resistance. You know, there's people that live just doing braiding and doing hair for black people and changing their lives. You know, even though I'm a journalist and a communication professional, I've never stopped doing black hair for people. You know, something that I learned with my mom. You know. Who was one of the teachers that the of the first course here to teach how to braid, how to do cornrows and dreads on people, you know. And that is part of who I am today. I keep on teaching this. Um, um, today, for example, I quit my job so I can follow my own objectives. You know, it is something very important. Today, I took a very big step, you know, in my life, so I can work towards what I really believe in. I want to inspire other women. We need to keep on resisting. Congratulations, Valeria. It's not everyone that has the strength to leave your job and work on your dreams. And Negra Jho, our mother, you also help in Ilê Aiyê, right? In the night of Black women, training these women, you know, to be to walk away as goddesses. You know, how do you do this every year? How do you educate them, these women, for the competition?
Isso aí.
Agora,
Agora vai.
No.
a Noite da Beleza Negra é
The
uma
Black
coisa
Beauty
tão
Night
forte
is something that is so strong, so important.
não é como diz Val, não é só
Like
uma
Val says, it's not just the Black Beauty
noite
Night.
de encontro,
It's
de
of
reencontro,
night
é
of
uma
meeting,
noite de
of
valores afetivos,
meeting, of
é uma noite que você
self-esteem.
se
It's a
veste de
night
rainha e
where
vai
you
para no
dress as
estúdio
a
do Ilê
queen
Aiyê
and you
para
go
ser
to
entrevistada,
Ilê
para ser
Aiyê to be
entrevistada, para ser
seen, to be
fotografada,
interviewed, to
botar o
be
melhor perfume
taken
para ser
photographs of,
fotografada,
to show yourself,
e quando a
to
Noite da
show off.
Black Jho entra na Noite da Beleza Negra,
And when
eu
does
entrei no Ilê Aiyê no
to
ano
Black
de
Beauty Night?
92.
I
Eu
came
sou
to
uma
a year
princesa
of
da casa
92.
Ilê Aiyê.
I'm a princess of
E
the
desde
House of
sempre eu
Ilê.
gostei de trabalhar com
And
valores
since I always like
afetivos,
to
mesmo
work with
assim,
self-esteem, I
teve um
continue with
ano
my
em
work.
98,
In
Jerusa
98,
já trabalhando no Pelourinho,
Jerusa working
ok?
with me when I arrived in
As pessoas não
Pelourinho.
dançavam mais
People didn't braid
nesse momento
hair
de dar o banco
in the
e sim
streets.
dançar o
I was the
passo no
pioneer of
Pelourinho.
doing that
E
work
hoje em
in
dia,
the streets of
toda a
Pelourinho.
estrada do Pelourinho,
And
toda a
all the
esquina tem uma
crossroads
maquiadora
now
do
of
cabelo.
Pelourinho, there's
E para
someone
mim é muito
braiding hair.
forte,
For
muito
me, this is something
gratificante.
really strong. This is really gratifying.
Quando eu tenho Jerusa
When I
no Curuzu,
find Jerusa of
teimosa,
Kuruzu,
danada,
something that was
eu tinha vontade de participar, mas sabia que não ia
hard-headed.
ganhar. Mas
She
quando
wanted
você
to
já vive
participate, but she
pensando
didn't
coisas
know what she
negativas,
would
você
get
não
from
ganha.
it. When you think from a negative
E isso,
standpoint,
como é que eu
you'll
vou
get
colocar essas
nowhere.
mulheres
But
entre grandes pessoas
I
na minha
wanted
vida?
to know, how do I
Eu
transform this
pego
woman
do início
into something
desde os
of
meninos.
potency, of power?
Pego essas meninas, vamos
I
lá.
have found these girls.
A
I taught them
princesa, a princesa
to
do bloco
value
a
the coming of
valorização da
the block
espiritualidade ancestral,
valuing the
onde a
spirituality, the
cultura africana,
ancestrality of Man
a
Yoda,
respeitar o rei, a respeitar
valuing
a princesa,
the president of the
a
house,
caminhar
valuing
pelas
everyone inside the
esquinas,
house.
a princesa
My
usar,
uh,
respeitar,
work with them is learning how to value, learning how to represent, because Il- Ilê has no space for fighting. It's these are things that cover our body, but it leaves us as sexy people, as someone beautiful. I teach a bit of the dance. I teach of how to clothe yourself, how uh, to bring about your spirituality inside the African ancestrality, and these goddesses, they change everything. The way they walk, the way they talk, the way they clothe themselves. Uh, they stay more at home when they need to purify themselves. Uh, and when you're a goddess of ebony, it's not just Salvador, it's not just Kurusu, it's something that goes out to the whole world. You're representing all the women in the world. So I feel very fortified when I see these girls growing up, because everyone that came through us were people that grew spiritual, mentally. Uh, when it comes to the year 98, when I uh, joined of Jerusalem, I was very privileged because in 99, with Lee Conceição, um, the first doctor, university doctor, in 99, uh, and in 2000 I won first and third, and came with Annalise Santana. I won Natalisi, with Everly that came third. 2009, I won with Priscilla, that was running for me. The queen, the tallest queen, uh, she came very beautiful to me, but she didn't know how to walk so well. And Priscilla was one of the ones who came with me to Porto Seguro, representing Africa, and came to be the goddess of ebony. I came with the Sacramento in 2003, and I won again. And the people who clothe the queens, uh, they have our rivalry, but people say that they throw pemba, they throw, get upset. But people just say that I can do it, I will go and and I'll win. I know everything inside the LA, and I don't have a fight with anyone inside the LA. Because I use love in my work, I use character in my work, I put resistance and ancestrality in my work. Because Ilê Aiyê is a big house and needs their children around it. And it was 2004. I started clothing runner-ups, and I was then looked after for Silvio Bashan. Uh, Everyone wanted to be the queen of 40 years of history, because people can die and not know how we resisted 40 years. But there's a Catalucci to tell that story, but there's Valeria to tell that story, there's their children to tell that story. The story of Ilê was born through the roots, but those roots came to become a tree that gave fruit, and good fruit. We're going to make more than 40 years because of ancestral history that is born in fertile ground, does not fall. Uh, and I ran on the block of Ilê Aiyê, 40 years of Ilê Aiyê. Ilê Aiyê is my family, is my block. Inside our ancestral culture, we have to unite more. I have friends that are in Ilê Aiyê that treat me very well. I have Claudia Maldas. We are never alone. Our resistance is quoting, congratulating, and growing with our Afro-blocos.
So from here on, I'm going to call you the creator of queens, because many of the queens from this competition came from you. So your legacy is this, you know,
I like that.
the maker of
Creative
queens.
queen.
That's your new.
Oi, Heather.
She's the queen bee.
Sempre eu dou uma dica. Essa menina mesmo desse ano, nós tivemos
I
uma aula.
always give them tips. We had the lesson today. We had a lesson this year with Van Oliveira. I said that the queen is this girl here. And they said, how did you know that you would become the queen? I see that who is going to be the queen. I see how they walk, how they smell, how they talk. How did you how did you know? Because when people came to the stage strong, with self-esteem, because it's not just how they dress. Negra Jho, just to add a parenthesis here. She doesn't go to the Black Beauty event. She doesn't show up in the event. She doesn't show up in the event. So she trains everyone, doesn't show up. Yeah, we always wait for her to arrive. I think the only one that she went was for the one that was in 40 years with Cynthia Paixão. Yeah, that was the last one. So she puts all her energy on the lady who's going to run, and she stays at home. She watches on the TV because it shows on TV. Yeah, she sees the results on TV. She eats well, but she doesn't show up.
I can see.
She's like a peach, like saying, stays at home with popcorn, just watching. So the Night of Black Beauty is really important in
The night
Carnival of Salvador,
Black women.
but not everyone has
It's a very
the
important
opportunity
day, you know.
to see. So here we
Unfortunately,
have
not
a
many
clip
people
showing the
had
opening
the
of.
privilege of seeing it. I have a clip here just to give you guys an idea of how this thing this competition is like.
Uma concepção pelo ar. Se a mulher é matriz da molécula força, do seu orbital se faz emancipar, sempre ao tipificar, o idolatrado se representar. O quadro dele, o vencedor de Zezé, que te diga o axé, quando engano exaltado do Ilê Aiyê. Ora Aiyê, oh, dai a mulher toda a glória e sente lá. Ora Aiyê, se soberano em seu nome eu campear. Ora Aiyê. chamarari da cá, modelo de vida pra mim. A Salvador, se você fosse assim, o toque do dinheiro encher. Ilê Aiyê, rodará.
É de
Coisa mais linda,
arrupiar. Você
de
vê?
arrepiar, de
Que
arrepiar.
conjunto.
Incredible, incredible.
The music, the goddesses, the clothing, the plays, the screaming of people is part of the music. You can see that people are screaming when people comes to the chorus. How can we resist this energy? You see the richness. Uh, you see the theme, the body, the movements, and the way they hold themselves. There's no way how not to be happy with this, how
There
in being
isn't,
part
there
of this
isn't,
history.
there isn't a way how.
Congratulations to Ilê Aiyê. It gives us chills.
Lucia, you also in Olodum, you also have lots of big things that you guys do, right? Last year you did Uma Mulher Menina. That was something that was very powerful. Talk to us a bit about what it is. What was the theme of the block that you guys did to celebrate those 40 years? Um, it's been 40 years of battling and resisting. Talk to us about what has Bloco Olodum done to women from the community.
Verdade. Eu já tava, tipo assim, lutando para que o tema do Olodum fosse feminino, voltado para a mulher já há um tempo. Acho que desde 2006, não
I was
sei
already
direito.
fighting for the block Doom, the theme to be towards women. We talk about Pharaoh. Pharaoh changed the history of Bahia. It was the one that brought to the world. It's now sang around the world. And was the one that screamed that. My theme was for I was born in '87, so it's my theme. Came 30 with Pharaoh, and we completed 30 years together. And I had that unsettledness of for our themes always being towards Egypt, towards Ethiopia, of Africa that is different from Ilê. We're towards always towards Occidental or the Western Africa, but it also contemplates us very well.
No Olodum tem algo diferente que a gente tinha
In
essa
Olodum,
reconhecimento de Negra Jho
we
como
have
rainha
something a bit
preta.
different that
E
we got through
exatamente, deixou de
Pelourinho.
ter rainha
We stopped
para ter
having
uma outra
queens
rainha que é ela
to
por
have
sinal,
our
ela é a
only
nossa rainha.
queen, that is her. She's their
Há
queen
quanto
in
tempo já tem
Olodum.
essa
In how many years now
há
are you the
17
queen?
anos?
17
Eu
years.
adoro que ela lembra a data.
I love that
Qual foi o
she knows the
motivo,
dates.
Valéria?
It's
2003, símbolo do carnaval.
in the middle of
Ela não tem
Carnival,
data nenhuma, mas ela lembra.
2003.
E
She
aí,
remembers,
essa
no
Negra Jho,
but she
junto com
remembers.
minha avó,
And
teve a
Negra
alegria de
Jho and
ser
my
rainha
grandmother,
dessa onda
we had the
comunitária
happiness
que o
of
Olodum tem
being
hoje.
the
Isso é
queen
algo que
and
o Olodum
being
já tinha deixado antes
Olodum,
e o Ilê Aiyê
running the Olodum all
continua
the time.
fazendo.
And
Porque, assim,
this is what
no
we
Ilê
did,
a
and we're
gente
still
teve
doing.
a Noite da Beleza Africana,
If in
que
Olodum there was the
despertou
Black
um
Beauty
festival de
Night,
música e arte
in Olodum we
que
have
foi um
Famadun,
grande
that is a
festival que
festival of
nasceu
art
colorido,
music,
que a
and
gente, esse ano a
it
gente
is a
fez
great festival of
em 5
Olodum
dias, né? A
that we
gente
did in
fez
five
um cruzamento de
days
encontro. O
in
tema das
2018.
águas, eu consegui
With
homenagear
the
10
theme Goddess of
mulheres
Waters, I was
dessa
able
cidade.
to
Esse ano a gente conseguiu
congratulate
homenagear
10 women.
20
This
mulheres
year, we're able
do
to congratulate
Brasil,
20 women
do
around the
campo,
world.
de
They
todas
are
as
contemplated
vertentes
different
da
areas,
história do Olodum, que é
several
mãe, mulher e
areas
matriarcado.
of protagonism.
Que
Um,
a ideia era contar
and the
o
idea
protagonismo dessas
was
mulheres
to talk about the
em apropriação das suas
protagonism
mulheres
this woman inside our society. We had Negra Jho, we had delegates, we had CEO of Lacoste, we had woman Cachamelo, that was one of the first women to think Olodum, Cristina Rodriguez, the first president of Olodum, of being elect. That is something emblematic for us. Olodum is going in a path that if Ilê Aiyê is the older one, the one that has the knowledge, retains the knowledge and the ancestral. We are the younger generation that we are uh, we are there. We dare to do something different. And is Olodum is talking about female protagonism, and Olodum couldn't talk about something different. If the world is talking about this, and we're not talking about this, we won't be young. And the project of protagonism got that challenge. Valeria brought me things that are very important to us, that is talking about power, protagonism of power. We have always been in all places, but being in a place of power in different places is different. I want to bring that resistance and that perspective because uh, what I'm going to say is very important. When Valeria says that I quit because this is not my place, this is something that is very revolutionary. This is something that is very responsible of her. It's being really far, or it's being a reality to hold of taking that responsibility, uh, of being that responsibility.
Ela se acaba de rir.
Because we come from that place. How did we do all this? We did it like this. We simply did it like this. Uh, this sacrificing things that were not for us in the first place. So when three women are here present to say two dinosaurs, two pharaohs, two pharaohs of Salvador Carnival. This is something of such a grandiosity that I know that who's watching is not going to understand. But this city is in flames. This city is how does how can these three women be talking about why is it not uh, another person, why is it not a black man, why is it not a black young person, why is it three young women? so so we're talking from a place that is so primordial, that is so strong, because it comes from a place of being first, from the resistance of through the drums, through the speech, through the composition, through dance. Negra Jho talked beautifully about the power of Ebony Goddess, but I want the Ebony Goddess to be the president of the Ilê. I want the goddess to be the goddess of Ilê, to be the president of Ilê. And I'm not going to say that from a place that we are better as women. It's because I believe that we're able to contemplate other places, that other ways of seeing that the machismo was not able to reach, because the machismo is blocks these great people. These people come from back then, as dinosaurs, to reach great places. There is this young, there's this female that is not misogynistic, because we're not prepared out of nothing. Me and Valeria, Negra Jho, we're not here. Heather is not here out of nothing. There's no coincidence. It's the competence that brought us here. And through a lot of work, it was really hard to be here. And it's been hard. We have to sacrifice something every day to legitimate our capacity of keeping on going. And I believe it's time for the Black universe, for our Black movements to understand that our protagonism is a protagonism of empowering, of strengthening, of power, not that not of not of of serving, or not that being a secretary or serving is less than, but we also want to sit on the table and sign the checks. And we want to say that how things are going to run, because we already said that between the lines. We signed the checks, but we're not sat on the table. Uh, think about Bloco Afro, think about Candomblé, think about Samba, think about Maracatu, and you can you imagine that without Black women, this Black woman doing the clothes, uh, the, doing the aesthetics, painting, helping the percussionist, doing the telephonist, being the receptionist, articulating everything. Why can't we also call the shots? Why can't we sign the checks? Why can't we also sit on the chair of presidency? I'm going to talk about Valeria about this because Negra Jones already has her place. But I'm going to tell you, we have a mission that is it's not small.
It's not, it's not,
não é fácil, mas
it's not easy, but it's very necessary.
passou da hora.
It's not easy, but it's necessary. Valeria is a master in communication. She's in an institution like this, and I'm just here in a place like this, and I'm just a student of this.
Nesse momento, não, é que nesse momento já ultrapassamos 1h30, né? Então, acredita, a gente, olha a cara de Negra Jho. Estamos falando muito, não sabia, não. Tá.
We already passed 1.5 hours of talk, so we need to end it here now. But I think this is an opportunity to have more talks like this one, you know. So it means that if we reach 1.5 hours talking without noticing, because we need to talk more about this, you know. So don't worry, we're going to be calling all of you so that we can have again a talk like this again. I would like it to thank all three of you. It was amazing for you guys to be here, to participating, to accept the interview, to accept the invitation to come here. Thank you very much to Roberto and Carlos that managed to stay here until the end.
Roberto e Carlos estão trabalhando forte.
Roberto and Carlos have been working a lot, and we thank you a lot.
Para encerrar nossa semana,
and we would like to finish the week. We're going to have 2 activities tomorrow. We're going to talk about the evolution of the Jamaican dance. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. at 5 p.m. there in Brazil. And at 7 here and 8 p.m. there in Brazil. We're going to have DJs to talk about songs from the diaspora. I would like to thank everyone's participation here on Zoom and on Facebook. And we would like to thank everyone's participation here. Monday is going to be the last day of the festival, but all the videos are going to be there on Facebook and on YouTube. Would like to thank everyone. I'd like to bless all of you. And until next time, Ashe.
Thank you, everyone.
Roberto e Carlos, né?
Peace.
Valéria, Aquataluxe. Gratidão, gratidão, gratidão.
Tchau.
Boa noite, gente.
Boa noite.
Boa noite.